what are three of your favourite songs?
Oh, I love so many.
I know.
So maybe Who You Are. We've already talked about that one, so have to do that one.
Cool.
By Jessie J.
Yeah.
I'm an ice skater. I love ice skating, and the first piece of music I ever skated to was actually a classical piano piece called River Flows in You by Yurima. So I think that one holds a lot of significance for me because I love that piece and I love skating to that piece. I don't know if that counts because it's not really a song, but I can't think of a third one. When I lived in Vancouver, I worked in a hammock shop part-time for a while.
In a hammock shop, did you say?
A what, sorry?
Did you say a hammock shop?
Yeah, a hammock shop.
Interesting. That's not one you hear every day.
No.
No.
It's really cool. I sat in hammocks all day.
Oh, amazing.
And just talk to people from a hammock and then
Yeah.
get them to try singing hammock. It
Yeah.
was like the best job ever.
Yeah.
And in that shop we listened to a song that always used to come on was I think it's called Country Roads.
Okay.
And it's not really the type of music that I'm really into, but I think because I've got that connection between the Country Road song and working the hammock shop, it's become something I really like.
Yeah.
Whenever I hear that song, it reminds me of that year that I lived in Vancouver. It was a really amazing year.
Yeah.
So maybe that one.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's your
What's
favorite?
your favorite song?
Oh my gosh, my favorite. I love a lot of jazz music.
Jazz is cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I love My Funny Valentine. I think that might be one of my favorites. Love Beyonce.
Beyonce's
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was quite obsessed with Deja Vu for a while. That would be, I think that might be my favourite one. Like, I think because it's got a kind of jazzy feel to it with like the horns and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever seen her like in concert or anything?
I have, yeah. Yeah,
She's amazing.
yeah, I first, I went to see Destiny's Child when I was like, I'm not sure how old I was, like maybe 6 or something. But yeah, that was amazing, even though I think I'd forgotten my glasses, so I couldn't actually see.
Oh no! Oh no!
But it was great to be there and like to hear. And like luckily there was a big screen, so I still got like a good enough idea of what was happening. But yeah, that was like, but yeah, luckily I saw her again. I think it was like 2 years ago now on her Lemonade tour. It was incredible. It was so good. Like I was actually quite emotional. Like I was there with my sister and we were in the crowd watching it, and it was just like the atmosphere that you get at concerts like that is just like everyone is just enjoying it so much, and like especially when it's someone that you look up to so much as a singer, just to have them there and like that was my favourite concert ever. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that feeling. Concerts are amazing.
Yeah.
And I think they make you feel very connected and together.
Yeah.
It's just this electric, like, euphoria.
Yeah, like a joint kind of humanity type feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love it.
That's a good one.
Oh, I love Fever by Peggy Lee, the jazz one. I know, it's...
That's funny, I skated to that song too.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's just such a like kind of groovy song, like I just always get into it. Yeah, love it.
Jazz vibes there as well.
Yeah, I don't know, like it's a bit of a random song choice, but I love the Pina Colada song. I was just thinking about it earlier, so it's like, oh my gosh, I love that song.
Wait, what's that song?
It's
Pina
like
Colada song.
if you like Pina Colada, dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun, dun.
I know which one you mean now.
Yeah, it's just got like a nice vibe to it, like I don't know.
Very chill.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love Maroon 5. What's it called again? Sunday Morning. And Coldplay. Yellow.
Coldplay are amazing, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I could go on. I just love so many songs. It's hard to narrow it down. But yeah. What is your favourite sport?
Figure skating, hands
Cool.
down.
Yeah. What celebrity do people say you look like?
I was told once that I look like Sarah Jessica Parker when I was at university.
Okay.
But most recently, when I was living in Toronto last year, I met actually the cast and crew of a TV series, and they said that they thought I looked like Jessica Chastain, who I didn't know. I didn't know who she was. So I had no idea who Jessica Chastain was. But obviously I looked her up.
Yeah.
Yeah. She has ginger hair, and I have ginger hair, so that's probably why.
What is your favourite thing to eat for lunch?
Probably Greek food, like hummus and olives and things like that.
Yeah.
Hummus with pita bread, olives, and vegetables.
Cool.
I love that stuff.
Yeah, nice. What is your favourite dessert?
My staple dessert these days is fruit, some sort of fruit like strawberries or blueberries or strawberries and blueberries.
Yeah.
With yogurt.
Nice.
Like with Greek yogurt, like thick Greek yogurt. I love thick Greek yogurt with fruit.
Yeah, I'm definitely a fan of blueberries as well, because like
I like. They're very good for you as well.
I know. I like to like kind of research about different fruits, like what fruit is good for this or that, and like blueberries are supposed to be good for your brain. I think they're good brain food, like dark chocolate and that kind of thing as well.
Yeah, they're good. They're antioxidants, I think.
Yeah.
They're very good as an antioxidant.
What is your favourite fruit?
Oh, my favourite fruit? That's the next question.
Yeah.
With yogurt, strawberries. I think
Yeah.
strawberries and yogurt taste so amazing.
Yeah.
Without yogurt, probably raspberries. I think raspberries are really tasty.
So what is your greatest strength?
I think my greatest strength is that I don't give up. Like I said, I'm very determined. I will keep going until I've achieved what I want to achieve.
Yeah.
Probably past the point most other people might have given up.
Yeah.
And that, I think that's my greatest strength, but I think in some instances it can also be a weakness. Because I don't let go as easily.
Yeah. I do think it can be tricky sometimes to find that distinction between a situation where you should keep pushing forward with it and where you should let something go.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said about not giving up, but equally, if you're so attached to achieving something in a particular way, it isn't necessarily always a great experience, and you sometimes might be better off letting go of it.
Yeah.
Totally see that.
Yeah. I guess like maybe the underlying thing in that is to not necessarily give up on what like the kind of intrinsic thing that you want, but to be able to let go of the method of getting what you want, if that makes sense.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
I feel like, that makes absolute sense. So, I think we get attached to things outside of ourselves, right? And it looking a particular way or being a particular way, but usually the desire underneath what it is that we want to achieve out there is something that we could actually create in a number of different ways.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we can kind of be committed to creating that thing that we want to feel as a result of achieving something.
Yeah.
But we can sort of detach and let go of how that goes and what that looks like.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. What is the biggest lesson that you've learned this year?
This is funny. To let go of things sooner.
Yeah.
Based on what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
I think I've learned that sometimes I hold on to something too long to the extent that it's actually starting to waste my energy, and instead of holding on to something, and waste my energy on that. I could let go of it and free my energy up for something else, to create something else and focus on something else.
Yeah.
So I think that I'm learning to just let go of something negative a lot faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just because it frees up my energy to focus on other things.
Yeah, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. What experience has shaped your life?
Every experience.
Yeah.
At this point, my coach training program has has been the biggest thing that's shaped my life and was the biggest turning point for me, I think.
What motivates you?
Good question. Relationships. Because I think that's the essence of life and what we're actually all here for.
Yeah.
Freedom and adventure.
Cool. So, similar question.
Yes.
What inspires you?
People with passion. Yeah, people going after their dreams.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that one. Because I feel like seeing people going after their dreams, it just kind of awakens something in you to be like, I can do that too. Like, if they can do it, so can I.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
it's very refreshing to see somebody set their mind on something, commit to it, achieve it.
Yeah.
Very refreshing. And you think, oh, well, perhaps we can all do that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What character trait do you admire in others?
At the moment, people with very healthy amounts of self-love.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think compassion. I feel like that's such an important part of like coexisting, like all of us here on the planet, and moving forward in a way that's productive and helpful to everyone. I feel like to do that, you not only need to understand yourself, but you need to be able to understand other people and be considerate about others. I feel like that's important.
Yeah, compassion is great. And I think compassion, for me, compassion is an element of self-love as well, right? Like, you have to be compassionate with yourself.
Yeah.
In order to develop that sense of self-love.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What was your New Year's resolution?
My New Year's resolution was probably a little different. It was to, when faced with a decision, to make the most self-loving choice.
Yeah.
So this is like very internal type resolution, I think. If people know much about mindfulness, just being very mindful of the thoughts that are going through my head and the things that I tell myself. Am I beating myself up over something, or am I choosing to relate to myself in a different way? So this is kind of aligned with the compassion and self-love that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So my New Year's resolution was to be more mindful of those thoughts and the things that I'm telling myself, and to always choose the most self-loving thought, and then take action from that place. So always do the most self-loving thing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so instead of beating myself up, have compassion and really start to catch it and do that more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot where I read it. It might be the book The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. Whoever it is says thoughts become things. And I do really believe that thoughts are so powerful in like shaping your life. So totally agree with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, thoughts influence our feelings, they influence our actions.
Yeah.
They influence what we think is possible for ourselves, and therefore what we do with our lives.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
If you were a superhero, what would be your superpower?
Invisibility, I think.
Cool.
Yeah. What would yours be?
Maybe mind reading.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah. Because I feel like people...
If I was a mind reader, I'd really want to be able to turn it on and off.
Oh, yeah, they want to know everything. Yeah.
Thoughts all the time.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. I just feel like in certain situations where, like, say you're finding it difficult to gauge what someone is thinking, and you feel like knowing that would help you in knowing what's the best way to deal with the situation. I feel like that would be a handy skill to have, because people don't always say what they're thinking.
So. Yeah, would be a superpower.
Yeah.
Mind reading. Invisibility. I chose invisibility because in the work that I do, we talk a lot about, I think I mentioned earlier, who you are versus what you're not, and behaviours and things that you've, we call it your survival mechanism, but basically they are like behaviours that you've developed over the course of your lifetime that aren't necessarily very helpful for you anymore.
Yeah.
And I think one of my, which is interesting that I chose invisibility actually, I think one of my survival mechanisms or the behaviours that I've developed is that I go very quiet and very invisible, so to speak. Like, I make myself invisible. I don't want to be seen.
Yeah.
And it's sort of a protective mechanism, like protect myself in that way. So the reason why I thought of invisibility kind of initially was because I can imagine if it were to become a superpower of mine and not like a default behavior, not like a behavior that I just defaulted to as habit. If it was actually a superpower, I could kind of start to use that in a very different way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just sort of made some connections there. So that'd be kind of interesting if that was my superpower.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 3 years' time?
Honestly, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I'm currently living a very nomadic lifestyle. So I lived in Canada for 2 years. I'm in New York right now. I'm from the UK. I'll probably be traveling somewhere. So I could be in some country. I don't know which. So I can imagine I'll still be traveling. I'll always have a base in the UK though. I'll still be coaching, hopefully. It's definitely my intention. Probably doing something more with my leadership. Whether that be hosting something, doing something more with my leadership, I think. So everything that I'm currently doing, but just higher levels of it, I think, is where I see myself.
Cool.
Yeah.
I could see you doing like a TED Talk. I think
that
you'd be great.
Be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think maybe that's I think I'd quite like to do that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be watching if you're on it. Yeah.
Yay.
What would you like your legacy to be?
So I never met either of my grandparents, but both did a lot with their lives, and I find what they did with their lives very inspiring. And I feel like the way that they lived their lives was sort of their legacy that was left for me. And whenever I, go into a state of really doubting my abilities or what's next, I often kind of among many things that I do, I often remember them and I think about what they did and how they lived. And it starts to remind me of what actually is possible and what I could be capable of. And that helps drive me forward. And it would be cool if maybe when I'm gone, I could be that for someone else as well. Yeah. That sort of inspiration.
Yeah. What advice would you give your younger self?
I would tell my younger self that things always get better and things always change. Yeah. Some of my childhood was really, really great, but there were other parts of my childhood that weren't so great. And I think when I was in a troubled space, I think it's hard to see beyond it. Like, it's hard to see past the struggles that you have. And I think what I would say, it's not necessarily advice, but I guess it's a comforting word of hey, things always get better.
Yeah.
And just remember that. And things always change. You're not going to be stuck here forever.
Yeah.
So I think that's the main thing that I would tell myself. What would you tell your younger self?
I think I'd say the same thing. Because I do think that when you're younger, you feel like if something bad happens, that's just how your life is going to be forever, and that there's no way out of it. And I do feel like it often helps you to get out of the situation quicker if in your mind you know that this is just temporary, because you're actively finding ways to get out of it. So I think that is a key thing.
I think what it does as well, when you were speaking then, it just reminded me, I think it helps you to accept things the way they are a little more in the moment.
Yeah.
Knowing that it is going to change.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we're so resistant to what is happening in the moment, it makes it feel even worse for ourselves.
Yeah.
But sometimes if just to accept the bad feelings, we're able to transmute them a lot faster.
Yeah. I think as well, a similar part of that kind of concept, appreciating the good things in those like supposedly bad times. Like you could have something bad that is happening, but also something good that's happening at the same time, and you're focusing your mind on the bad thing, and then that bad thing disappears, and then later on that good thing is gone and you didn't appreciate it when it was there. So,
and they say, when you brought up earlier about thoughts and the importance of what you're thinking, if you're focusing on all the stuff that's bad, you're going to feel really bad.
Yeah, it's only natural.
And if you focus on the stuff that's good, you're going to feel a little better.
Yeah. And what advice would you give people who want to be a life coach like yourself?
I would say get supported. I think for me that was massive. It was a game changer to be supported. I think with anything in life, like whether you want to become a life coach or whether you want to do anything that's a big dream of yours, go and get support around it. No one can do anything on their own. We all need each other, and that's how the world goes round. It goes round because of each other and the relationships that we have with one another and the support that we can give one another. So I would say be open to support and seek it out.
I agree. Like, I do think it can be easy to fall into the trap of thinking, I have to do this all myself. I need to do every single part of what it is that I'm doing in my business or whatever I'm doing. I need to do every part of it, especially if you're a bit of a perfectionist as well. You might want like full control over every tiny detail when there's someone out there that has the expertise to deal with that particular thing. So, we're now on the last question.
Yay!
Yeah.
Oh, nay.
So...
No, I have enjoyed this. I didn't say yay because...
Yeah, no.
like, yay. I've enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah, it's been good. In what way do you hope life will be different for future generations?
Wow. I hope there's a lot more, sounds kind of cliche, but I hope there's a lot more love in the world and less struggle. I hope that technology and capitalism don't take over so much that we forget what really matters. Like I've said already, I think that's each other. I think we don't have to struggle as much as we do. I think as a society and as individuals, we can make things a lot more difficult for ourselves than they need to be. So I hope that there's a lot more ease in the world too.
Cool. That is a perfect finish to I really enjoyed interviewing you, and like it's always great to talk about like positivity and changing your life, making it better, and it's been great talking about that with you today. So thank you for being.
Likewise.
And you can follow Rachel on Twitter, on Instagram as well.
Rachael Redgate on Instagram and @Rachael Redgate on Twitter.
So you can follow her there, get in touch, get your free consultation booked, and just get started with changing your life.
Yeah.